Hello friends, it's me, and today let's watch how to get perfect hair in 4 easy steps. Style theory from the style theorist. Together, let's go. Let's start.
Everyone wants perfect hair, but not all of us can be as lucky as Zendaya. Or can we? What if I told you that her hair always looks so good, not because of high-end stylists, but because she knows the secret to perfect hair?
Genetics.
Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory, the show that's hair so big because it's full of secrets. Secrets that
Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory. Hi.
I'm about to share with you. Over the last year, we've been dissecting, bisecting, and uncovering all there is to know about your hair. And today, we're answering the biggest question you never knew to ask. What is your hair type? Is it curly, straight, wavy, or gasp, all of the above?
I've always just known I have curly hair, but I don't really know what type of curly hair. But I think that there are multiple.
Yeah, that is possible. We've talked a lot about the ins and outs of hair on this channel, and one thing that's always remained consistent is that no one's hair is exactly the same. And that's because hair is complicated. There are 12 major hair types, each with its own specific needs. But don't worry, theorists. While that may seem overwhelming, I've made an easy 4-step guide on how to diagnose any head of hair. By the end of this episode, you will be able to name not only your overall hair type, but your shape, texture, density, and porosity, which is how porous your hair is. Weird word, I know. Those are the 4 key things you need to know to finally get your perfect hair. By knowing all of this, you will know how often you need to wash your hair, how much moisture it needs, and more, no matter how you choose to style it, or not style it. I don't know, I don't judge. And theorists, if you want to get an A on this test, you'll need to do it along with me and leave your results in the comments.
Alright, comment down below. Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this video from the Style Theory, how to get perfect hair in 4 easy steps, Style Theory, because she mentioned that it's going to be very educational, knowledgeable. Thank you.
Your hair type is made up of 2 main parts, the number and the letter. The number tells you what your hair shape is, while the letter is the texture. So we're gonna start with numero uno, the shape. Hair can typically be sorted into 4 main shapes: straight, wavy, curly, and coily. These are represented by the numbers 1 through 4, respectively. All of these shapes come with different pros and cons. But before we can talk about that, we need to know which one you are. To do that, we are going to have to accept the truth of one unfortunate fact. Beauty is pain. Theorists, to really understand our hair, we need to pick a sacrifice and pull out a strand of our own hair to act as the representative of our hair collective. Or a few strands, if you, like me, think that you may have more than one shape going on your noggin.
I have a whole, biome of different hair types living on my head.
Where my fellow Medusas at? Nice. We know no snake is the same, but really, you can have more than one shape on your head. So if you think that may be the case for you, pluck a hair from each section. For me, that's the top, sides, and underneath.
Ow, ew, ow.
It's fine, it's fine. Beauty is pain. Okay, now that we have our strands, lay them out on a flat surface. I'm using a paper towel because it's hard to see black hair on a dark surface like my table. If your hair lays flat with no curves, you're a type 1, straight as a board. Follically speaking, at least. This is your Renee Rapp, your Lana Condor, and Nicole Kidman. Lately, anyway. It's important to note for these references that we have to base them on the photos available to us. And sometimes, photos lie. Styled hair can look one way even if that hair type is another. Just ask my coworkers, who were shocked the first time I walked into work without straightening my hair. Jaws were dropped, y'all. So while all the examples we show will be accurate to the type, just know that some may be styled to look that way. Type 1, or straight hair, tends to be viewed as the easiest hair type, though it does have its own issues. Since this hair type is so smooth, it's easy for your natural oils, also known as sebum, to travel from root to tip so fast your head might as well be a slip and slide. This means that you should likely avoid products that claim to add extra moisture. But your worst enemy, my type 1 besties? Heat and brushes. Type 1 hair is prone to breakage and tangles, meaning you need to be extra careful with your styling tools as to not cause excess damage to your already very fragile hair. If your strands have a soft S shape instead, then you have type 2 hair, wavy. Like the ocean, your hair rises and falls in waves. This is where my hair falls, or rather, some of my hair.
So looking at this hair, we have one that is definitely like a wave that is starting to come up off the paper, one that is just straight wavy, and one that is an actual coil, which tells me that somewhere on my head, going all abouts in here, you have some type 2 and some type 3 hair.
Besides myself, or part of my head at least, others that fall into this category are people with hair that ranges from Emma Stone to Millie Bobby Brown to even Lorde. That is a wide range, I know, but we will get to that in our next test. For now, remember that your hair falls between extremes. It is highly prone to heat damage like type 1, but is usually drier and needs a little more added moisture like our later hair types. But if your hair tends to be straighter towards the roots, it may be better for you to keep that moisture towards the ends of your hair to avoid buildup. Now, I did say that was only one of my hair types, didn't I? Well, while I untangle all of my hair issues, you can detangle the web of online security thanks to our sponsor for today's episode, NordVPN. Nord is the MVP of VPNs out there, bringing you top-of-the-line cybersecurity for affordable prices. As someone who is chronically online, knowing that NordVPN is out there keeping me and my data safe takes the worry out of my browsing. In my job, I have to look up a lot of weird things while researching for episodes, which means I've always worried that looking up if high heels can kill or what the exact arch of Barbie's feet would be would put me on some sort of governmental watch list. But with NordVPN, I know that my data is safe behind the wall of their next generation encryption. They keep out unwanted trackers and malware from any site you may visit or files you may download. And they do it all without logging your data. You heard me right, not only is NordVPN keeping others from getting all of your personal information, they don't keep it either.
I love it that it's all three of them. Okay, so there's a game terrorist, film terrorist, food terrorist, style terrorist, and there is Tom, Lee, and Sanji. All three of them. Hey!
Thanks to their no logs policy. And after a long day of theorizing, you can even use NordVPN to help you watch your favorite shows, whether they're available in your country or not. With the click of a button, you can change your location to unlock shows and movies on Netflix or other streaming services that aren't available in your country. Love the Hunger Games? Hop on over to Netflix Canada. Prefer Studio Ghibli? Netflix UK. Barbie? Netflix Australia, baby. You can get access to all that and more with just one service, all thanks to NordVPN. But that's not all. Just for you style theorists, NordVPN is offering a huge discount on their 2-year plan, plus 4 extra months completely free. Yes, free. All you need to do is go to nordvpn.com/styletheory or click the link in the description to get started risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/styletheory to start taking control of your internet today. Thanks again to NordVPN for sponsoring this episode. So what if your hair starts to loop over itself in a tighter S pattern, creating more of a 3D effect? Then you have type 3 curly hair. Think of this as the Hot Wheels racetrack of hair. You've got that loop in you. This is likely where our perfect hair queen Zendaya fits in, at least according to most photos of her natural hair. It's also my missing type.
One is a full-on curly Q coil. Yeah, we're definitely getting some like 3D effect on some of these. The actual coily section is on this part of my head. I am the world's weirdest chia pet, is what I'm learning.
If you're a type 3, then you have the exact opposite issues of our type 1 friends. Rather than worrying about too much oil building up, you will need to add extra oil back into your hair in order to maintain those luscious locks. Which means that we type 3s don't need to wash our hair nearly as often as type 1 or type 2. Typically, type 3s can go 3 to 4 days without shampooing, and sometimes it can go as long as a week. That's actually a pretty typical range for me, whether I'm wearing my hair naturally or have it straightened. But it can be a little bit of a trial and error game to find that sweet spot. So to find yours, try going a few days without washing your hair. And once you start to notice your hair is looking extra greasy or dirty, you've found that golden ratio for your hair. And finally, we have the queens of curly coils, our type 4s. If you look at your strand of hair and it has that curl pattern we mentioned for our type 3s, but to a more extreme degree with those curls starting to form round or zigzag patterns, means you are definitely a type 4. This is usually your natural hair, as seen on people like Lupita Nyong'o, Willow Smith, or AJ from our conditioner episode.
If my hair doesn't get moisture, it becomes dry, brittle, hard to manage.
If type 1 was afraid of oil, type 4 is giving it an open invitation to the function. Of all 4 hair shapes, type 4 can go the longest without washing their hair, which makes sense considering shampooing your hair removes all of those essential oils. This can range from 7 to 10 days to 2 to 3 weeks between shampooings, which, jealous? I would love to go that long without washing my hair. I hate having wet hair. This sounds like my dream. To keep your very sensitive hair from drying out, the name of the game is moisture, moisture, and more moisture.
I have to actually add oil into my hair care routine. If it doesn't have a moisturizing effect to it, I don't use it.
Castor, jojoba, and argan oil are great options that may also provide other benefits to your gorgeous mane.
But that's only part of the equation. We need to know the rest.
Theorists, remember, the number is only half of your hair type. A true hair type is made up of a number and a letter, a shape, and a texture. Even with your type number, your hair can still be different from your fellow type 1s or type 4s. In our office, multiple Team Theorist members have type 2 and type 3 hair, but that doesn't make us the same subtype. That is the letter of the equation that we are looking to solve for, and that letter stands for texture. Your texture represents how fine or coarse your individual hair strands are, which is the fancy cosmetology way of saying if you have thin or thick hair strands. You could have curly hair that's really thin or straight hair that's super coarse. There are 3 main texture subtypes, A, B, and C. A is for fine, B is for medium, and C is for coarse. This is like a really weird Sesame Street, which means it's time for another test. And another strand of hair. Lucky for us, we just harvested some fresh hair for our last test that we can reuse.
To find our coarseness, we have to take our strands of hair and rub them between our fingers and see how they feel. Now, if you don't feel anything, that means you have very fine hair. If you feel it, like really feel it rub between your fingers, you have some coarse hair.
If your hair feels like it falls in the middle of that, you have type B, medium hair. If you're still not quite sure after that test, you can also compare your hair strand to a piece of thread. Average thread is typically similar to type B hair, so you can place where your hair lands depending on if your hair is thicker, thinner, or the same as the thread. But does the texture of your hair really change how you should take care of it? Well, yes. Type A hair is very fine and delicate. This means that it can be more prone to breakage, so keep it moisturized and don't overbrush. If you have straight fine hair or type 1A, you likely want to keep your ends moisturized to prevent breakage while steering clear of having too much buildup on your roots. Type A hair can get weighed down easily by heavier products or using too much product and start looking greasy real fast, so go easy on the leave-in conditioner. You'll also want to gravitate towards products that promise to protect your hair using proteins and amino acids. This can help strengthen those fine hairs and prevent breakage. On the other end of the spectrum, you have me, the big old C.
I have extremely coarse hair.
Due to the hair's coarseness, it can be a lot easier for your hair to get tangled and snagged, so be careful brushing. A detangler or a wet brush may suit you better than a normal brush, as well as products that specifically target coarse hair. Those tend to contain more helpful oils for our thickum strands. And unlike our type A friends, we don't really need to find a protein-rich shampoo or conditioner since our thick, coarse hair is already super strong.
You could build a bridge out of this hair and it would not fall down. That is an Amy fact. I feel like Rapunzel and I could go head to head on hair strength battles.
And don't think I forgot
Rapunzel versus Amy. Fight! I'm joking. Sorry.
you type Bs. You lucky sons of guns can keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to do anything extra to maintain healthy hair outside of products that may suit your letter type. And after all of that, you have finally found your hair type. But wait, the episode isn't over yet? There's more to know? Yes, loyal theorists, there is. As I stated at the top of the episode, hair is complicated. There are two other factors that play a huge role in the health of your hair. So prepare for a style theory speed round. In 3, 2, 1. For our speed round, we will be conducting our final 2 mini tests to finally solve our perfect hair equation. First up, the density test. When a person tells you that you have thick or thin hair, they aren't usually talking about its coarseness. They are actually talking about density. Your hair density is how many hairs you have making a home on top of your head. The average person has between 90 and 150,000 individual hairs, but even that can vary wildly based on different variables like your genetics or your age. But hey, that's what extensions are for, right? Anyway, to find out our hair density, we don't have to do anything crazy like count each strand of hair individually one by one. Instead, we can use the ponytail test. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. Start by gathering your hair into a
I got that reference from Peach Meeting. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience.
ponytail. Then it's time to break out the measuring tape to wrap around the base of our pony. If you don't have one, you can also use some string and a ruler.
I'll give you a little sneak peek at this. Just by measuring with my fingers, we're looking at that. Let's get a measurement of this.
Sorry.
Have a lovely tape measurer. I am making sure to wrap around the hair and not the hair tie. So for this thickness, we have 12 centimeters or about 4.5-ish inches. We'll have to see how thick that is. If my record of going through hair ties after like 2 uses is anything to say, she a thick pony.
Theorists, she really is one thick pony. A circumference of less than 2 inches is considered low density, with 2 to 3 inches being average. And if you have more than 4 inches, you have very high density hair. I think I can safely say I fit into that last category, but you'll have to let me know your results in the comments. If your hair's too short for this test, don't worry. I always have a backup. And this one will need a mirror. Take a look at your scalp in that mirror and see if you can see your scalp without having to move your hair out of the way. If you can, it's low density. If you need to move your hair a bit to find your scalp, then it's medium. And if you have to send out a search party to see if you even have a scalp hiding under all that hair, then it is high density. But what's that all mean? Low density hair should avoid super heavy products like oils and creams. And if you want your hair to look fuller, look for shampoos that focus on volume, as well as dry shampoos and even some mousses. Meanwhile, high density hair may need more products to get whatever styling effect they're aiming for. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you've likely seen my bathroom full of products, so you know that's true. What can I say? More hair needs more products. It's just girl math. As for our medium density hair, you keep living your perfect, easy hair care life. And the last piece of our perfect hair equation is all about the water. This is our porous test. And yes, I know, when most of you hear the word porous, you think about this guy. And how absorbent and yellow and porous is he. But your hair is also
who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm sorry, I got ulcer, so.
a sponge, sort of. Your individual strands of hair are covered in cuticles, also called scales. These open and close based on things like temperature and chemicals that you apply. However, even without those added elements, every person's hair has a specific amount of opening and closing that they're prone to. If your hair is more porous, those scales are more open than average, allowing for more air and moisture to pass through, similar to the holes of a sponge. If your scales are more closed, then your hair is more likely to hold on to the moisture, like a really stubborn sponge. I don't know, this sponge metaphor is getting weird. We can find out the porosity of our hair with our final test of the day.
Now I have my bowl of water here and we're gonna see if my hair sinks or swims.
If your hair floats, then your scales are more closed, meaning you have low porosity hair. If your hair sinks like Sonic the Hedgehog in a water level, then you have high porosity hair. And if it sinks but it does it very slowly, you have medium porosity hair.
She's floating. She is floating. What a good little snake.
Low porosity hair like mine means we have to fight hard to get moisture into our hair. But once it's there, it's stays there. So while you do want to add moisture via products, do only as much as your hair's type needs. Because once the oils are in there, your hair is gonna hold on to it and hold on to it tight. That means if you overload it, it feels real greasy real fast. This also means that our hair takes much longer to dry than someone with high porosity hair. Yippee! Speaking of our porous pals, they are the exact opposite. High porosity hair tends to suck up moisture like a sponge. But that moisture will leave as fast as it comes. This means that without adding moisture to your hair can easily become dry and brittle. And high porosity hair should especially avoid using too much heat, as that can only serve to dry out and damage your hair even faster. So how do we put this all together? Well, as we said many times this episode, hair is complicated. Even more so than I was expecting. But now you have the perfect equation to solve for almost any hair problem you might come across. Take a look at your answers to today's tests. How do they overlap, and how does your specific hair differ from your besties? For me, the type 2-3C with dense, very low porous hair, it means I need to focus in on moisture and be careful of using too much heat. And maybe ditch the brush, depending on the day. So tell me in the comments what works for you. And you know what? We might even test your hair care routines and hacks in a future episode. And even better, next time you get served an ad for a product that claims it can cure your hair problems, you'll be able to tell if that's true or just one big hairy lie. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep looking sharp. Next time on Style Theory.
I think I know why this is returned. You see, less than a week after installation, our filter baby started filter leaking. And I don't mean in the sink, I mean under the sink.
Yes, we had barely reached halfway through our experiment and I was being flooded.
Okay, I think that video, the TikTok water filter video, disappeared from the channel. Yeah, for some reason, I got no idea. So sorry. But anyways, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep looking sharp. Thank you. Subscribe.